Welcome to Little Birdie Podcast. I'm your host, Scoot, and this is a special US Masters edition. I've got the Kid MG with us and Top Rope Tedeschi. You guys will be well aware of their antics on the punt. They love to have a bet, and we've got an expert in. We've got Adam, Big Daddy Fraser, is joining us again. He was hotter than a pistol last year from season 1. You know that this is our golfing expert. Welcome back to the show, Big Daddy.
How are you, boys?
Mate, we're absolutely on fire. We've been filling up on the AFL and NRL all last week, and we've brought in the big guns for Augusta. You must be pumped. This is it's often billed as the best week in golf, but it's probably just the best week of the year. You've got the races in Sydney, you've got AFL, you've got NRL. There's some stuff going on left, right, and centre, and then just to top it off, you've got the Masters. It's a sensational time to be watching TV and betting on sport, isn't it?
Mm. Yeah, it definitely is, mate. It's my favourite tournament. It's a lot of people's favourite tournament. There's something just special about Augusta. It's just it's so iconic. It's such a great tournament. So I'm pumped, mate. I can't wait.
Yeah, Mark and I were lucky enough to go in 2013, and the thing that blew me away was the undulation of the course. It looks like every shot is either above or below the knees, isn't it? Like, it's all the off camber. It's unbelievable how much adjustment, and the slopes, you just can't factor it in off the TV. Or just it's so much worse actually there. What do you think of the course, Big Daddy?
Yeah, well, actually, believe it or not, I've actually never been. I was always waiting. Once I stopped playing on tour, I was always waiting for my brother to play, and I was waiting for him to play to be able to go. I wanted to save myself for that, and he got very close one year. He was ranked 51st on the cut-off date for the Masters, and the top 50 in the world at that point got in. So that was a bit of a bummer, and then I didn't end up going. But I will go at some stage, and for the people that I know that have been, they say that the undulation is just nothing like what you see on TV. So I have heard that, and you've been there, Scoot. You just confirmed that. So yeah, I'd love to go at some point.
What about you, Top Rope Tedeschi? Augusta on the bucket list?
Oh, on the bucket list, number one on the bucket list, absolutely for sure. It's just everything from Magnolia Drive on the way. It's just the most magnificent course, the most magnificent history behind it. And it has a way of always bringing out, or nearly always bringing out, the best of the best. So, you look through the roll call of winners, it is obviously one of the great tests because the greats of the game have all won there, and it usually throws up the best. So, I love this. I love seeing it back in April as well. It was good to have it in November. It's bloody fantastic to have it back now.
Couldn't agree more. We're sort of lucky. We've got 2 little hits of the Masters in a very short period of time. What were your feelings walking into Augusta for the first time when you went and had a look at it, Mark?
Hungover from the night before. It was a fair call. We did actually. We did get word that we had to do a bit of walking and stuff to training going over there because of the hills. They said it's not an easy walk. And you and I pounded the pavement before we went. Unfortunately, we didn't combine the enormous drinks the night before. But the weather was hot, so it was a good sweat out. But walking in's like no other sporting event I've been to. I've been lucky enough to go to quite a few around the world, more in racing terms. But walking into Augusta is like, it's. I'm not a religious man by any stretch, but I can't believe the amount of people that walked in through the gates and then basically just all took it in. A lot of people getting down on one knee, just picking up a bit of the grass, kissing the grass, whatever. It's just crazy. Like, it's just, it's definitely a bucket list. I'm happy I went 2013, and whether it's 2022 or 23, I'm looking forward to Little Birdie Tours hitting the Masters up, and we'll go with some crew, I tell you.
Yeah, when you go past the big scoreboard there and you're in between the first and the 10th tee, you do, I think the natural reaction for a lot of people is just to break the grass because it's so perfect. It looks like they vacuum it, and it looks like it's not real. I tell my dad and I tell my mates, it's like Disneyland for golf people. If you like golf, this will take your love for golf to the next level. It is something to behold. Let's get into the serious stuff. We're talking and waffling on. We need to talk about the betting here because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to find you guys a winner at home. I'll go through the top of the market, and it's no surprise to see Dustin Johnson at $9.50 there with topsport.com.au. We've got Bryson DeChambeau. Wow, he's changing the game, isn't he? $10. Justin Thomas, $10. John Rahm, $11. Jordan Spieth, $13. McIlroy, $18. Patrick Cantlay, 21. Xander Schauffele is $22. Brooks Koepka, $29. Colin Morikawa, $29. Big Daddy found him last year. Patrick Reed, everyone's favourite, $34. And Cam Smith, the best chance of the Aussies, most people think, at $41. Daniel Berger at 41. Paul Casey, 41. Tony Finau, 41. Victor Hovland and Webb Simpson on that quote. I could keep talking, but Big Daddy, let's start at the top of the market first. Let's talk about DJ.
Mm-hmm. DJ, when he won at the Masters last November, he was the best player in the best form at the time when he won. It hasn't been long since November. However, his last few starts on tour have been very, very poor. And I definitely like to see someone in good, strong current form just prior to playing majors. I think DJ personally is too short in the market at the moment. And I'm happy to take him on for some plays like, top 5, etc. So I just think he's just a fraction off at the moment. He could come out and prove me wrong, but I can't take that price just off his last 3 performances, which have been very, very average.
Top rope, Tedeschi, what do you think that's gone from a November fixture to all of a sudden hot and dry? DJ, for you?
No, I'm with Big Daddy on this one. I couldn't have him on current form. I do like to see some form coming in. He's got good form at Riviera, and he's obviously won here, so there are 2 ticks in his box. But I just couldn't have him in his current form, and I think the firm and fast conditions will probably suit others more as well. So I'll be looking elsewhere. I'll be happy to lay DJ at that price.
And Bryson DeChambeau, the mad scientist, seems very short.
Bryson? Yeah, well, Bryson, he's doing some new things with golf. He's trying to hit it as far as he possibly can, which is important when you play Augusta, because a lot of the players that have won there have dominated the par 5s and played well there on the par 5s. That's kind of where you make your score. So he has the ability with his length to play the par 5s very well. However, Bryson is a player that's very hard to catch. He's a player that he's quite inconsistent. That's what I mean by hard to catch. He's inconsistent. So, he can go, for example, his last few starts, tied 42nd, a third, a first, and then tied 22nd. So it's not, and the start before that he misses a cut. So he's hot and cold, and I don't generally like investing too heavily in players that are hot and cold because, as I said, they're hard to catch.
Thoughts on Bryson, Mark?
Like the way he goes about it. He gets the crowd involved, doesn't he? It's great to watch, and he plays to the crowd as well. So I think he's going to bring a lot of entertainment. You have a big crowd following him at the Masters, whether he can win it or not. But he'll definitely light up some par 5, so he'll be full of entertainment around that trap.
Back or lay, top rope?
Lay for me. I'd definitely like to see a quality, top shelf iron player here. I don't think Bryson fits that mould completely at the moment. I agree with Adam that the upside is there. He absolutely has the ability to win, as he showed at Wingfoot last year. But there's just too much inconsistency about his game, and I definitely price kind of the second shot more than the first shot here at Augusta. So I'm laying definitely the price as well.
JT, yeah. Justin Thomas is the next in the market. Big Daddy.
Yeah. So just also on Bryson, he struggles a lot with his distance control with his irons, and what's very important around Augusta is it has a lot of shelves and levels, and you've got to be able to hit it on the right tiers to get good putts at the hole, and that may be his downfall. I think he can play the par 5s very well, which is important, but if he struggles to control his distance with his irons, it could pull him back to sort of midfield.
I'm seeing a lot of nodding from Nick Tedeschi in the background there too. But moving on to Justin Thomas, there's a few people on the Twitter sphere that have found Justin. Thoughts, Big Dad?
Yeah, Justin Thomas is a player that's in form. He's playing well. He's definitely one of my top picks. He came in nearly, I think he was the top of my rankings. Yeah, so he's a big show.
Top rope?
Yep, I'm on him as well, definitely. He's not my best bet in terms of value, but he's definitely my pick of the top handful. Although he's went the players was outstanding, he's obviously come back from some kind of slight issues with his game, but more kind of emotional concerns off the course. He just has a great game for it. I love his trend at the Masters over the last 5 years. He's improved at every run. He finished with a T4 in November. He's got a wonderful, wonderful iron game. Ranks third in strokes gained approach. And I also kind of look towards putting average as well. I know faster greens make it hard, but he putts really well on difficult greens. So Justin Thomas, I think, is a tremendous bet for me.
Mark's nodding.
Yeah, I was just saying his history at the Augusta. His last 5 times, he's improved each time. He's gone from 39th 5 years ago, and the last 2 times he's gone 12th and 4th. So in racing terms, he's looks like he's been trained by Bart Cummings, ready for the Masters here. So yeah, he looks definitely in my top 5, the ratings I've been given. So I'll follow these 2 guys in.
John Ram is the next, or Rahm is the next in betting, and he's got the nappy factor. Everyone's talking about the new baby in his life. Fraser, thoughts on John Rahm?
Yes, that can be one of the only little distractions that can take you away from your practice and preparation. But outside of that, John Rahm is probably my top pick for the Masters. He is arguably the best player in the world right now. He's from his last 9 starts, he's had 7 top 10 finishes, so that's extremely consistent. He finished third in one of those that he finished outside the top 10. He finished 13th. So he's pretty much finishing top 10 every single time he tees it up. He's due to win a major. He's got the right ball flight for probably the way that Augusta's going to play this year. I've got him. I think he's top of my list.
I'd agree. I love the way he got round Augusta last time, and he just seems to have the right sort of temperament. When the whips get cracking and the pressure starts to build later in the tournament, he's definitely the golfer that I want to be with. Top rope Tedeschi?
I find him really difficult to assess, actually. I can definitely buy into the case that he can win. He's got great form at Riviera, which I think is a major guide here. He loves firm and fast conditions, so that's going to suit well. He's obviously played well here. He's super consistent. I am concerned about the baby factor that's come into it. And I'm also concerned he has these opportunities in majors and hasn't grasped one yet. So won't be backing him at the price, but wouldn't be rushing out to lay him either.
What about your little sneaky set out wide? One of your bookie mates, Mark, he's got Rahm?
Yeah, he's actually got Rahm on top. So I'm going to be taking some of the around the $13, $14. I see that, again, he's got 3 top 10 finishes in the last 3 outings at the Masters, and he's got a good average and everything like that. So fast track suits him. Maybe he can find a babysitter for this week. Just concentrate on his golf. Would be a nice output to get his first major, I think. So, Rahm's on top in my ratings.
It was at Easter last week, and Adam Fraser's bunny for last year was Jordan Spieth. But all of a sudden, this bunny has got the Energizer batteries back in him. We're talking about Jordan Spieth. I used to call him the ATM when he was on that hot run. I can remember the British Open, his charge that day. He's made me a lot of money, Jordan Spieth. I've dropped off him for quite some time, but is it time to get back on Spieth now, Big Dad?
Well, the market's totally overreacted to him. They've drived him in so short based on his current form, and if you go back 5 or 6 tournaments, you start to see a string of miscuts and inconsistency in his form. Look, I'm not going to take too much away from him. He's in red-hot form at the moment. He won last week at Texas. He didn't beat much, though, at Texas. It wasn't an overly strong field. So he does love Augusta. When he gets his spring in his step, he's mentally a very, very strong player. He's dangerous when he's in contention. And now that he's won, he's going to be full of confidence. But the price is just ridiculously short, and there's no way I can take that. I'd be happy to lay him at that price for top 5 rather than try and back him for any sort of outright or top 10.
And I know that you're set that you're going to sub out for this tournament. And you're doing all the majors for us, so it's $22 for every tournament here. All 4 majors will cover on Little Birdie. You get Big Daddy sets. What price have you got him rated? Before the tournament sets live, we're going to send out your rated prices. What price, roughly, have you got Jordan Spieth there? How much have you got?
From memory, I've got him. I haven't got it right in front of me, but from memory, I've still got him at $80.
Wow.
It's a big discrepancy in the price at the moment. The reason being is I put a lot of emphasis on how consistent they are over the whole year, the previous 12 months. I know he's in good current form, and I do take that into consideration. But there's a little bit of, I do have to shorten that price a little bit just off my gut instinct. The reason being is Jordan's come out and said that the time that he was playing poor, he did have an injury, and he didn't really make that public. So he's now come out and said that, which it sort of changes things a little bit. You probably have to wind that price of $84 in just to allow for that. But I can't have him at the price. There's no way. So
Top rope Tedeschi?
Price is absolute insanity. I thought I read it wrong, Russell. Yeah, $13 out there. I genuinely thought $31 would be the price you'd be at. In the last 60 years, only two players have won the week prior to the Masters and come and won at Augusta. So it's typically not the best form line to be playing the week before. The best preparation, I should say. I absolutely could not have met the price. I love Jordan Spieth. I wish him all the luck in the world. Golf is better for Jordan Spieth being better, but I could not have met the price.
Golf is one in the noodle, Mark. You've seen me explode on the golf course, and I can't get that thought out of my head, him having that absolute meltdown at Golden Bell. I know he's probably going to not make the same mistakes there, but once you have a big explosion like that, especially at a place like Augusta, I think that can haunt you, and I think that's happened to Rory McIlroy, who had that big lead and dusted it off. The mental game of golf is so important, and I'm worried that he's going to have a nightmare the last round. And he sort of said that after his win the other day. He said that was the best he's felt going into a tournament. That in the final round, that could come back to haunt him, couldn't it?
Yeah, all he can do is win. But obviously, he didn't beat too much out there. But yeah, he's not. He hasn't made it on my ratings list here. And these guys are obviously at the price. They're a clear pot. So looks like he's one delay.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's look at the better roughies, or another person who is pretty long odds here is Brooke Koepka, $29 at topsport.com.au. What are your thoughts around Brooks? I know you've always got a big opinion about Brooks.
You have to throw Brooks in at the price. He had a patella tendon knee injury last year that showed a bit of inconsistency in his form. But if you have a look at Brooks in majors, the guy just turns up. He finds a way generally to play very well in the majors. He's tough mentally. He won in Phoenix. From his last 3 starts, he's had a win and a second. And although he hasn't played a lot of golf, you cannot leave him out. He's just too dangerous a player. And if you leave him out, he can really hurt your book. So you have to throw him in my opinion.
Recently engaged to Jenna Sims, I see through the social pages there. I like to keep a close eye on what Paulina and Jenna are up to. What about you, Top Rope? Are you backing or laying Brooks?
I'm backing Brooks. Very keen on him at the price. So I think he's out to a very backable price. The only red flag is how he's recovered from that knee surgery, which he had 19 days back. So that's obviously a concern with the particularly how hilly the course is. But I love his profile for this. I love that he won in Phoenix. Yeah, he was runner-up at the WGC Workday. I think he was very poor there. Only one poor round cost him at the Genesis. He ranks really well in kind of some key stats for me, including par 4 birdie or better. He's got a great course form. He lists for the majors. I think he's a great price. I'll definitely be on it for $29. That's for sure.
Any notes there on Brooks Koepka? Not on the sheet.
Didn't make my top 5, but listening to these two fellas sounds like he's an overbet there. So might have to make it a top 6.
Got to be on. Okay, looking outside the market, best roughie. We'll go to you first, Big Daddy. I know Big Daddy, he doesn't like to do much of his business pre-post. He likes to pick off other prop markets, so make sure you check out his set, only $22, and he's good with the head-to-heads and the top 20s and all that sort of thing. So as soon as Big Daddy has seen a round of golf, he just keeps readjusting, and he'll talk about his chances there. So after every round, you'll cop an email from Little Birdie. So it's not all done and dusted before they start. You'll get an update after every round. But who's your best roughie for the tournament, or is there anyone that you're speccing out wide to jump off the page at big odds there, Big Daddy?
Well, Brooks was one of my roughies at sort of $30. Another one that look, he hasn't been in great consistent form just recently, but as a player overall, he keeps coming in as a very consistent player in the top of my stroke averages, and that's Webb Simpson. He's at $50 in the market, and he's definitely a play. He's good enough to win. He's won majors. He's won a major before, so he's won the US Open. He knows how to win majors. He's worth throwing in at the price, I think, just as a small play.
What about you, Top Rope? Best roughie? Best bolter?
Yeah, there's a few here. I like Webb as well. Tua Hatton was certainly in there. If we're going to go real wide, a guy, this is probably not so much win, but someone who I'm definitely looking at for the top 5, top 10, top 20 markets, Max Homer at $161 to win. Yeah, I just love his form at Riviera, that I mentioned earlier. I think that's a very good course guide. For Augusta, I think he is a big chance here to make the cut and finish pretty highly. He finished T22 concession, ranked 7th on tour in putting average, 7th in par 5 performance, which I think is a real key guide to Augusta. And in his last 9 starts, he's finished top 22 in 7 of them. So he's kind of got that consistency heading in. Look, it's a big class jump, and it would be one of the big Masters upsets of all time. But I can definitely see him kind of featuring at the pointy end of the leaderboard.
Never get scared of taking big odds. Upsets do happen, and it's good to have a small little investment on something out wide. What about you, Mark? Are your ratings specking anything at giant odds?
Just mid-range. I just wanted to ask the gents, did they like Tony Finau? Any thoughts there on Tony?
Big Daddy first.
Tony Finau, yes, he's playing very well. He's consistent. For a win market. To me, he does too many dumb things under pressure where you just shake your head at and you're just like, I can't believe you just did that. I can't. He's a player that you can have for top 10s and sort of top 20s and things like that. At the price, he's definitely someone to consider for that. For a win market, under the heat of the battle, trying to win the Masters, I'm not so sure whether he's just mentally there yet.
Okay. I'm going to be specking Scotty Scheffler at 60-1 or better. What are your thoughts there, Big Daddy?
Scotty Scheffler, not for me. Go ahead if you want to back him, Scoot. He's playing well. He played well in the match play. He got to the final, which was good. He popped up in the PGA last year. He's thereabouts on my list. I think he comes in about sort of 20th. He seems like he's about the right price. Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm going to halve my stake after listening to Big Daddy there. He's just taking the wind out of my sails just a little bit. But it looks like there's a strong contingent here. The John Rahm is definitely in the mix. JT's probably rock bottom, and Brooks Koepka looks to be the big danger here. But it's definitely take on Spieth at the price. But if you want to get the rest of Big Daddy's thoughts, make sure you head to Little Birdie's shop. $22 for the US Masters, but you get a discount if you get all 4 majors. It's $77, and those prices include GST. Big thanks, Fraser. I know you got a big day today. Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch up with you very, very shortly.
All right, thanks, guys.
That was Big Daddy Fraser, and a big thanks also to Top Rope Tedeschi. He does not sleep Masters Week. He just goes rugby league all up the US Masters. What a great tournament it is, and thanks for joining us, Nick Tedeschi.
Absolute pleasure. Can't wait to see the next major.
We're going to take a short break, and up next we've got Corey McKernan. He's been to the US Masters more time than any of us, and he absolutely loves it. He's got his own podcast called Walk With Me. He's doing a great job there for mental health. And as always, big thanks to our presenting sponsor, puntingform.com.au, Australia's best online form database if you're betting on the ponies. We'll take a break, and we'll get Corey up next. Welcome back to Little Birdie Podcast. I'm your host, Scoot. I've got the Kid MG, aka the Bandit, on the golf course. He is a very hot worker. He's taken my money before, and he'll probably take yours. So make sure you don't play golf with Mark Goodwill for cash. He will knock you around. Now, this is our US Masters edition, and who better to talk to than Corey McKernan? He ran his CM Ultimate events for many, many years, and he's been to so many Masters trips. I'm absolutely jealous, but a big thanks for joining us this week, Corey.
How you going, boys? Yeah, at least Mark's actually requested that I talk about his eagle. That was the only way he said I could get on this show. So,
is it still the only eagle that was made on that tour?
No, I think Greg Blewett might have had everyone covered. I'm pretty sure he would have made several eagles over the journey. But I must admit, what was it? It was a 3-wood into about the 7th or 8th hole at Spyglass Hill, wasn't it?
You can build it up a bit better than that. I
don't want to pump your tyres up too much.
I was sharing the cart with Corey, and he said he got lucky on the drive. I think it might have just spilled out into the fairway, and we're going up there, and he said, I played this hole before, and it's very hard to carry the water onto the green, so he advised me to lay up. I said, listen, I'm probably only going to play this course once, so I'm having a crack. And when it went on the green, he's just shaking his head for the next 3 or 4 holes. Couldn't believe it.
I think your tee shot come off the cart path.
Oh, whack. Oh, fantastic stuff. If you just joined us, Mark and I were lucky enough to go to 2013 and watch Adam Scott win the Masters, and Corey's hospitality was fantastic. We're going to try and line up a post-COVID tour and get Corey and all the boys along to the US Masters, so make sure you reach out, slide into our DMs if you want to go to a post-COVID Augusta Masters trip, a bucket list. Bring your old man, bring your mates. It is unbelievable. We've been there, and Corey's been there a lot. We're definitely going to check it out. Mark, it's probably your best golfing experience. Adam Scott winning, it's just a dream come true, and the tour was just top-notch, playing Pebble and Spyglass, the lead-up. Fucking knew how to do it, Corey, didn't he?
Yeah, no, it was amazing. And, even the journey getting there that, you invited me onto a corporate golf day. I think it was Stakes Day that you might have invited me. You said someone's pulled out. Do you want to come? Just thought it was a normal corporate golf day, and we ended up winning the day. And the prize was to go on one of Corey's tours to the Masters. It was an unbelievable experience.
It was fantastic. Corey, talking about Augusta, I describe it as Disneyland for golfers. You've been so many times. Can you still remember the first time that you walked into the gates of Augusta?
Yeah, I think everyone's a little bit. It was one thing I used to love about doing the tours was seeing the reaction of everyone when they came back from Augusta National. And I think every time that you go back there and you see the place, it still blows you away. Just seeing Augusta National for the first time. I think for those golfers out there, it's probably one of the biggest golf courses that you'd ever go to. I think the enormity of the property is the thing that probably surprises you. And then the other thing that will probably blow you away is, how hilly the place is. So the drop from the 10th tee down to the 10th green is the same height as the Statue of Liberty. So that gives you an indication of how that's a big drop on that hole, but just how undulating Augusta is. And, walking around there, boys, when it gets to 26, 27 degrees, I always say to everyone, you really want a day, from our point of view, and probably the players feel the same, but you'd really like the weather to be in the low 20s in our temperature. But once it starts to get up over sort of 26, 27 degrees, it can get pretty warm walking around there, as you guys both know.
You would have to tail cup, wouldn't you, MG?
Yeah, especially with the dollar beers as well. The picture, they've still got the prices from, the 1970s, is it? Like, it's crazy. So, it's good drinking weather.
Speaking of walking, Corey, you're doing fantastic work. This walk for me, run us through the people that haven't come across this podcast. You do an amazing thing. It was born out of COVID. You do a morning walk for mental health. It's fascinating stuff.
Yeah, well, the reason why I ended up starting it, I saw a headline in the Australian newspaper that the suicide toll was unfortunately going to outstrip the coronavirus toll. And with great mates in Wayne Swass that has got Pucker Up, and you got Jake Edwards that has got Outside the Locker Room, I thought, well, what can I actually do? I think I was pretty frustrated in the space that there were so many times that we're all great at talking and throwing money at it. But then the only thing I've ever known is probably physically training, and then probably, trying to always find ways to get better. So I combine the two in, and then as we're doing now, we can do a lot of things via Zoom. And so I just created a Zoom walk where everyone can walk and talk and share ideas. And I was really conscious from the start. I just wanted to make it that, if someone was struggling, well, it's much easier to get them to come go for a walk, or anyone, if you're trying to speak to someone, rather than to sit down and feel like you're under pressure having a coffee or having a conversation, which is great, by the way. But if it's a lot easier just to say, hey, mate, let's go for a walk. And then that's how the thing evolved from there. And you always just try and get great guests on there. And the thing that I always say to everyone, it's about, if you can develop tools in your kit bag that you can thrive in any environment, well, you know what I mean? You should never get yourself into any strife.
That's the thing, and we've got another segment. It's called Raise. We do a segment for raise.org.au, and I'm a massive fan of mentors. And I know, like, everyone's lost a job along the line and have taken 6, 12 months to bounce back, and everyone's had dark days. So there's no shame in having a flat spot, but just to keep going. Sometimes you just need a break to go your way, or just to talk it out, or find a mentor or someone that you can thrash out your problems. So I think it's amazing stuff that you're doing, and some of the guests that you've had on are unbelievable. Some like the biggest names in sport and the absolute pearls. And that's what you've said. All these little tools and tips and techniques, and it might be just something that someone successful has once said, or just to keep your head, or that little bit of encouragement just to go for the next stride that the next day. I think it's definitely important.
Well, the movement, I think, is pretty vital. And then the other part is, I think, what usually happens, that I think a lot of people have already had a lot of successful habits in their lives anyway, and all that we're doing is reminding them of things that they've probably previously done that they've stopped doing. So that's where it's been, to be able to get a lot of messages from people to say that, oh yeah, I'd forgotten that, about going for a walk, or going to the gym, or whether it's taking time out, or whatever the hell it is, or they were drinking too much, or all these things. It's really about facilitating ideas and get people to be able to think and walk and talk at the same time.
Where can they check it out, Corey, for people wanting to tune into the podcast?
Well, yeah, if you want to get on the Zoom walks, but all the information is at Walk With Me Online. That's the name of the website. And yeah, you can join us on the Zoom walks. We do those at 6:45 a.m. on a Tuesday and a Thursday. And then we've usually, as you mentioned, we've had some feature interviews every week. Last week we had John Longmire. Next week I've got James Hurd coming up. So we end up having some great guests and be able to pick their brain. And it's good for people to hear that, that everyone goes through tough times, but to hear from these, great people we get to talk to, it's, I suppose it just humanizes it. We all go through problems, but if they can hear from people they admire, well, I think it's a great thing.
I couldn't agree more. You just reeled off some massive names, and it just goes to show, the tough times, dark days affects every spectrum of life. Doesn't matter how much money you got or how much success, there's the highs and lows, and you just got to keep on pushing on. So fantastic stuff, Corey. Can't believe the impact that you must be having on people's lives. It must be very rewarding for you. Now let's talk about Augusta. How many times have you got to go across to Augusta?
I think in the end it was 11 or 12 times. And look, the funny thing is, like, whether it's, I know the ones that you guys were obviously incredibly fortunate that you got to see the first time an Australian had ever won at Augusta. But I think for me, and as you guys would have seen, the favourite part or favourite parts about looking back about, all the people that get to go, I think it's just how quickly that you can throw people from all over Australia into a group, but they've all got that one common bond that they all love golf and they all love the US Masters. And there's probably just all like little silly things, whether it's either being at the houses that we stayed, or whether it's even getting the bus rides, where we'd go from Aiken into Augusta, and just the banter and stuff that would happen on that was nearly as good. Don't get me wrong, going to Pebble Beach and playing Spyglass Hill, Pebble Beach, these great courses, and going to Augusta, but it really was a a fantastic week that you always look back pretty fondly on.
What about the time that you played Augusta? Surely you played around.
I was very close to playing one year, and then the kind member that was going to host me, he had to go up to Atlanta for business, and
what a sick
I
beat.
wasn't really in a position to say you should cancel your meeting, even though you're trying to explain, hey, I'm actually here from Australia, and I've looked forward to this my whole life. I don't think the membership at Augusta really take kindly to maybe pushing their buttons, because that's your probably chance of ever playing going down the gurgler.
Wow, that's I talk about sick beats. And Mark,
have you caddied at the Masters? Did you caddy for Leishman or something one year?
I caddied for Michael Campbell. Now this hat that I've got on now, is you only get this hat when you caddy in the Masters, so it's probably different to all the ones that you guys have got. I only ever probably wear it once a year, and then the rest of the time it sits on the shelf up there. So I only ever probably put it on Masters week if I'm watching the US Masters, and I try and protect it. I actually got this cap when I caddied in the par 3 tournament, so I was pretty fortunate. I don't know whether you can see it. So on the last hole of the par 3 tournament, I got to hit a shot, which is a pretty cool photo.
Oh, no way.
No, that's your swing. Wow.
Oh. And it is quite interesting that when they give you the overalls when you go in and caddy, number one, I don't think they were really made for people that were 6'5". So they were a little bit short, and they are a little bit tight. And then the other thing, having Michael Campbell's wedge was probably a little bit shorter than my own. But the really strange part is when I got over the ball, I had a pretty quick conversation with myself where I basically just said, you know what, I've actually been waiting to hit a shot here for all my life, and thankfully I didn't hit it in the water. I hit it a little bit thin and over the back, but that picture, it actually does make it look like I've hit the best shot of all time. So it's more as long as I got the follow through, I don't care. It actually looks like I've hit a great shot. But funnily enough, I did actually get to putt on one of the greens where I think Michael Campbell had started bogey in the par 3 tournament. And I think I was getting stuck into him, as Australians and Kiwis can. And I think on the third hole, he hit it to about 15 foot, and then he threw me the putter and said, hey, you can putt on this hole. And then I've proceeded to roll it in, and then I think he birdied the next 3 or 4 holes in a row, and I'm taking credit that I got us going at before then. Cambo, you're on your own. But then when we started going well, it started being we.
Outstanding stuff. Yeah, the par 3 tournament, that is just unbelievable. For me, it was, as a mad fan, it was just as good as watching the tournament itself. Just surrounded by the stars, you're in close combat, you can nearly touch them, you can get autographs and stuff, and it just hits you that you're there, and it's something else, isn't it, Mark?
Yeah, they just one thing I find about the Masters is I haven't been to that many golf tournaments overseas. I've been to quite a few in America, but they just do everything right, the Masters, and from A to Z, they don't miss a trick. They really look after. They know what a big event it is, but they treat everybody with the best that they can from the practice, from players' practice area, for the par 3 day. Right the way through. They let the viewing public get as close as they can on most holes, and it's that's why I think it's part of such a great trip.
And the other upside is on the par 3 tournament, you can take your phone in, so you can take all the pictures but then once you get to the real tournament, I love that. I love and I hate it. I love the fact that they don't let you have your mobile on the big days, but again, as a punter, I'd like to lay off, and I'd like to bet, and I'd like to be more engaged with it, even though you're absolutely filling up just to be there in person. Now, let's get you for a quick tip.
You can take your camera in on the practice days, but you can't take your phone in on any day.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but speaking of watching a lot of the US Masters, who's your tip? We're a betting show here, Corey. Your best bet, best shorty, and best roughie for the tournament. I know you watch it very religiously.
Nico, I started looking at this, and you could end up this year building a case for about the top 12, I reckon. It was just, when you look on there, when I look through, when you got Johnson, DeChambeau, Thomas, Spieth, Rahm, McIlroy, Cantlay, Koepka, Schauffele, like even and Cameron Smith, all those guys, you could nearly legitimately build a case to say, you know what, they've either played Augusta well, and that's the thing I look for those out there that are listening in, and it's there's the ones that are the bleeding obvious, and so to answer your first question, I don't know, I have a feeling either Justin Thomas or Jordan Spieth this week. I feel like Justin Thomas has been tracking really well at Augusta the last few years and had pretty good form. And Spieth has had really good form in the lead-in. The ones that are amazing value, so these might be ones that are maybe more, I would say, either top 10s or is Mark Leishman still has finished in the top. I think the year that Adam Scott won, he finished either tied for third or tied for fourth. And then the other one that is still crazy odds and is still hitting it a long way, even though he's 51 years old, is Phil Mickelson. I can see at the moment is well over 100 to 1 now. The way that the course is playing, where it's hard and fast at the moment, it's going to play nothing like what it was in November. From all reports, it's even really fast this early in the week. So I think Augusta have pretty much said, we don't really care how far you blokes are going to hit it, but the bit where we're going to get our advantage back is going to be in and around the green. So I would suggest the guys that really know how to play Augusta well and have had previous good form there, I'd look through. The likes of, you want great value, the likes of Mickelson and Mark Leishman and these sorts of guys that have actually played the course well before. Even Louis Oosthuizen, he's another one that's actually played well there previously. Justin Rose is an interesting one as well, but he hasn't had great form as late, but Justin Rose has finished runner-up twice. So, look, it's at the top end of the field, I find it hard to pick. At the bottom end, I can see some great value with the likes of Leishman and Phil Mickelson.
About the 200 to 1 or 150 to 1 for Leishman. He does go around there on rails, and 200 to 1 for Phil Mickelson. And if you're looking at topsport.com.au, the top 20 market, you can get $4 for Leishman to finish top 20. Not a bad bet. And then Lefty, I love Mickelson. He's just an absolute entertainment machine. He's $5 to finish top 20.
Well, Mickelson with that one, Nico, he could turn into our new version of what Freddie Couples used to be. Remember all those years where Freddie used to just bob up? I don't know. I think he might contend for a couple of rounds or 3 rounds, but just can't finish it off. And Freddie was like that for a number of years. From a punting point of view at the Masters, we always used to throw him in there and just have dreams that he might be able to finish off, but he never could.
Fantastic stuff. I can relate to that a lot. I think that's fantastic stuff, and the insight around Augusta is sensational. You need a horses for courses player, and yes, the undulation at Augusta is something that you can never quite imagine. You're off camber every shot you're playing, so I don't mind that little pearl for Leishman and Mickelson, that's for sure. Big thanks, Corey. Walk With Me Online is where you find his podcast, and check it out. Jump on the Zoom chat if you're having a good or a bad day, or just want to hear from some absolute superstars about mental health. Make sure you check Corey's walk. He's doing amazing things. Thanks for joining us, Corey.
Thanks, boys. Not a problem.
Enjoy.
That's the end of the show for the Little Birdie Podcast US Masters edition. We'll bring you guys a golf podcast for all the big majors, and we might start looking at the Australian tournaments in the back half of the year once the crazy racing and AFL and NRL seasons are back. Hope you enjoy it. Make sure you head out to the Little Birdie shop, littlebirdiepod.com/shop, and get on Big Daddy stuff. He's the best golf expert I can find in Australia, and you should jump on board. $22 for a tournament or $77 for all 4 majors. Thanks for joining us. Thanks, Mark. Outstanding work.
Thanks, Nico. It's been a good show.
Chat to you next week.